Hello and welcome to another Rebel Coach conversation. Today we are so lucky because Allison Nissen, that's me. I'm co-founder with my sister Marcy Stout. We are excited to introduce Kate Webb, and Kate has a fantastic story to share. Kate, why don't you just go ahead, jump right in and tell us what you do and why you love doing it?
Yeah, definitely. Thanks, Allison and Marcy, for having me on today. Super excited to share my story. So I'm Kate Webb. I'm one of the founders of Sun Moon Rising. We are a unique, first of its kind wine brand that just recently launched to the market. So we are inspired by astrology. We are the first ever zodiac inspired alcohol brand to exist. We launched in April of last year, so we just celebrated our 1 year anniversary. And super excited to kind of share our story. We're a female founded brand. We're locally sourced in New York State, where me and my co founder are based. We're certified sustainable. All of those really fun and important factors when considering products and brands that you want to support. So that's kind of who we are in a 30-second spiel.
That's amazing. So many places we can start with this conversation. I'd like to start first with the astrology based wine. Like give us that, what is that? And
Yeah. So my co-founder is an astrology enthusiast. She knows more about astrology than anyone I've ever met. I am a sommelier. I'm a certified sommelier. I've been in the wine and hospitality industry for 10 years. And so our paths kind of collided about 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago. And we were just kind of discussing and sharing our passions for wine and for astrology, and kind of realizing that nothing else exists on the market that combines these worlds. And so what we did after proving that it doesn't exist first, is we created a list of all the common characteristics between zodiac signs and grapes or wine styles. And once we had this list kind of in place of what matches perfectly with each other, we took that to two winemakers, and we made our wines from scratch. So each bottle of wine is hand curated to exemplify the characteristics of that sign. It's very authentic, very thought out. On the back of every bottle, there's a description about why this wine is for you. Why is this for your sign? And my partner and I hand wrote those ourselves, sharing the story about why this is for you.
This is so much fun. So let's suppose I buy the bottle. I have a bottle of wine. Now, it's for every zodiac sign. It's not like I'm a Capricorn and therefore I can only drink the Capricorn wine.
Well, yeah, exactly. So there are 12. So there is a Capricorn bottle. So it is really fun for you to get to try your own sign. There's a lot of different ways that someone can engage with Sun Moon Rising. So in astrology, your three major signs are your sun, moon, and rising signs. Those are the big three that kind of make you who you are. And so with Sun Moon Rising wine, you can explore your sun, moon, rising signs and try your three. A lot of people do know their sun, moon, and rising these days, which is amazing. But if you don't, there's so many quick and easy ways to find out what your big three are. We have a lot of really like in-depth astrology lovers that know all of their signs and all of they know their full birth chart. And that's another fun way that you can enjoy Sun Moon Rising, is to taste through your full chart and kind of think about what that means to you. So it is a very personalized experience. But for someone who's new to astrology or even new to wine, you can just explore Sun Moon Rising through what your preferred style of wine is. If you know that you like sparkling rosé, you can drink the Gemini, and you don't have to be a Gemini. You kind of can create your own experience with Sun Moon Rising. what's really cool about our brand is, so we source, again, all of our wines from one state. We source from two different winemaking regions. One is Long Island and the other is the Finger Lakes. Both of those regions are famous for being the two best winemaking regions in New York. And so it's kind of unusual to find 12 different styles of wine from the same producer. And this is kind of a chance to dive into New York State wine and all the many different styles that it offers and all the different grapes that it offers. And so it's a chance to try 12 different styles of wine. And you can certainly take it from that approach too.
So translating, so you're a sommelier, or how long have you been a sommelier?
I became a certified sommelier before I was 25. I think I was like 24 or 23, 24 probably.
Incredible. Like I just definitely don't have the taste buds or the nose for that. Like I don't know how you could possibly do that. Have you invited a bunch of people? Like how does it work as a sommelier? I know you have a certain level of expectation of wine. So then when you're curating and creating these, what was that like to go on the other side to be a winemaker versus a wine taster?
Yeah. I think it goes for any sort of product-based business. I had to create 12 styles of wine for 12 completely different palates. Everyone has their own palate. My mom literally only drinks red wine. She's one of those people that's like, I'm red wine only, sorry. Okay, are you that as well? Okay.
Yes,
So then,
Allison is red wine only. I will have a white wine if it's the only thing offered.
yeah, exactly. Right. I get that. So
desperate.
everyone has their own kind of preferences. Some people are a little more flexible and others just are set in their ways. They know what they like. And so when I was creating 12 different styles, there was a lot of thought process that went into it, aside from the astrology factor and making sure that we nail that and keep that authentic. The other things that we were thinking about is just, okay, like what are all the different palettes of wine and wine preferences, and how can we make sure that every single person who drinks wine on this planet can find a favorite out of the 12, and hopefully they find more than one. But we have kind of a wine for everyone. And so when you have a business, you can't make 12 wines for you, you make 12 wines for other people. And kind of understanding. And I think that's where my experience in the sommelier hospitality world for the last 10 years, my literal job was to curate experiences for people, to help people find the wine for them. And that can be a quick process or a full journey. And either way, it's super fun. And so I got to kind of use my experience doing that to create 12 different wines for everyone.
Kate, I'm so much in love with your journey and your story. You told us how that you met with your partner and how you became inspired. You found a vineyard or a winery that would make these brands for you. But what was the next step? I mean, as an entrepreneur, it's not just like, oh, if we build it, they will come. So tell me how that works.
Yeah. So the whole process of creating Summon Rising took about a year and a half. Once our wines were bottled, it was such an interesting transition going from someone who's developing a brand to now, or a product, to now someone who's managing it and selling it. So that was a really interesting kind of transitional phase. My full-time job completely switched in its job description and like in its roles. So we are able to sell Summon Rising through 3 different avenues. Our biggest is the wholesale market. So we sell Summon Rising to bars, restaurants, retail stores. And then we also sell Summon Rising on our website. So we have kind of an e-commerce platform. And then something that kind of came about without us even really planning on it before we launched is an events program. So we had a lot of people start reaching out to us and being like, do you guys do private events? Do you do corporate events? And so we essentially had to build out an events program for Sun Moon Rising. And now we're doing contracted events. I mean, at least 4 times a month, I would say. March was a really busy month for us. We did 14 different events in March. Yeah. So, and that's just the beginning. I mean, we are a very small team, obviously. It's myself and my co-founder, and so we're kind of doing everything on our own. But hopefully I answered your question. Right now, our focus is creating partnerships through the wholesale market, learning more about marketing and what it takes to have an e-commerce platform. I would definitely say that is like my weakest skill point. Like, I'm not a marketing person. I don't know anything about social media and all of that. So learning how to navigate that world. And then lastly, events, which that's definitely more like, I mean, that's always been a part of who I am as a sommelier. So that's been really fun to go into all these corporate companies and curate these really cool events for people.
See the events almost a way of a company doing something unique, because I can kind of see how this would be a different style than the average, like, let's get together. And then they fall in love with wine. So it's like a great branding. Tell me a little bit more about the events. What are those like?
Yeah. So just like how like Sun and Rising is never heard before or seen before, our events are really similar. It's a very unique experience that's literally never been done before. So we combine the worlds of wine and astrology, and it becomes a very like experiential event. It's a kind of a chance to learn more about wine, learn more about astrology, and learn more about yourself, all while drinking something. So our events can look like a lot of different styles. We do like more formal sit down styles where, you know, everyone kind of sits at this long table. It's very like personal, lots of opportunity for conversation. And we literally do a 12-course wine tasting where people get to try all 12 of the wines. We talk about, you know, why this wine is made for this sign, how it's made. We talk about what's going on in astrology this month or in the foreseeable future. We kind of share, you know, tips of how to utilize certain astrology events and how to kind of cultivate that energy and use it in your day-to-day life or in your professional life. And and you know, New York State is an emerging wine region. Not a lot of people, or I would definitely say the average consumer, wine consumer, doesn't think of New York State when they think of winemaking regions. I think the average consumer feels familiar with France and California, but not with New York. And that's really unfortunate. New York is actually the third largest wine producing region in the United States. It is on the rise. We have incredible winemakers. We have the great thing about New York is that the climate is really similar to European climates, meaning that we're able to make wine styles that are more similar to European wine styles. And I think I have noticed that there's kind of this push away from California style. People are kind of complaining it's too oaky now, what have you. So what's cool about our events is we get to kind of sit down in an intimate setting and talk about New York State as a winemaking region and what makes it so special, why it's on the rise, and why you should consider drinking from there instead of California or France. And, you know, right now we're a New York-based company. So it is even more impactful to be able to sit down with New Yorkers and be like, listen, you have an incredible winemaking region close to home and you should explore it. And, you know, don't fly out to California and explore the Napa Valley, drive 4 or 5 hours north and go to the Finger Lakes. It's just kind of a no-brainer, but it takes spreading awareness about this. And that's one of Sun and Rising's goals.
Amazing. So when I was first looking at it, I was kind of, when I first looked at your website and everything, which is beautiful, by the way. I mean, I think it really captures the essence of like more than just wine, like kind of that getting familiar.
My brother-in-law will really appreciate that compliment. He did it. So thanks, Andrew.
Family. So we appreciate you use your brother-in-law.
Oh yes, we're basically a family founded company. Yeah.
So is it biodynamic, or is there any sort of like using the earth, like, so my limited understanding of biodynamic, like having the moon with influence when you
Exactly.
like that?
So we are not officially biodynamic. We're not biodynamic at all. But we've kind of formed our own form of being biodynamic. We look to the signs of how we create wine styles. Whereas biodynamic, they're going with the flow of the moon cycles. We don't go with the flow of the moon cycles, we go with the flow of the signs. So this is kind of its own form of winemaking that has never been done before.
All right, so since I'm the first one to ask, I get to win. Aries. I'm an Aries. Tell
Yeah.
me about my wine. I don't know my other two things, but
Yeah, that's okay. Let's talk about Aries, which by the way, it's Aries season. We're almost into Taurus, so happy Aries season, happy birthday. So the Aries is 100% Syrah. It is our fullest body. So we have three red wines, three red styles of wine, ranging from light to full body. The Aries is our fullest body red. Aries are known for being very bold, big, kind of powerful people. They're the sign of innovation, they're the sign of leadership. And Aries is the first sign on the zodiac calendar. So the zodiac calendar starts with Aries. And because of that, they're kind of known for being like the elder sibling of the rest of the signs, that the rest of the signs kind of look up to them for leadership. And so because of this kind of big, bold personality trait, we matched you with our biggest, boldest red wine. From a seasonal perspective, it works out very well because at least in the Northeast, it's still pretty chilly around Aries season. So we always keep seasonality in mind when pairing wine styles with the signs. For example, if you're a summer sign like myself, I'm a Cancer. You're typically going to drink like still rosé, sparkling wines, and so forth. And so we've always kept those seasonality aspects in mind. But yeah, I mean, that's Aries is big, bold Syrah, perfect for winter, perfect to, drink with food. There's some spiciness to it, some clove, black peppercorn. It's just really nice.
You've nailed my sister, by the way. Like that, I'm not kidding. I'm like typing on the side chat, like nailed it. Like seriously. So, all right. So Capricorn, give it to
Yeah,
me.
your turn. Okay, so Capricorns are known for being very driven. They're very goal oriented, very hardworking. They're one of the most ambitious signs of all the signs. And so Capricorns are often celebrating their successes because of how driven they are. And with that, we were like, well, if they're the ones celebrating more often than not, why not pair them with the perfect wine that you would want to drink while celebrating, which is a sparkling white wine. So it's our champagne alternative. Obviously, you can't be called champagne unless from Champagne. So it's a sparkling white wine. It is absolutely delicious. It is the perfect bottle of wine to open if you're celebrating something or if you just like bubbly wine. But it's dry. I know some people get a little bit scared of sparkling wine sometimes. There's this kind of misconception that it can be sweet, and don't get me wrong, there are some that are sweet. This is not sweet at all. Completely dry, really refreshing. Like interesting complex notes of like gooseberry and pineapple and Asian pear and spiced ginger. So fascinating. And what was I going to say? And from a seasonality perspective, what's really perfect about it is that Capricorn season overlaps with New Year's Eve. So what are you drinking on New Year's Eve? You're drinking sparkling white wine. So all of it really makes sense. And then what's really interesting, we haven't hit so we launched to the wholesale market in June. So all of our data is based off of data from June. So we haven't fully completed a full year out in the market yet, so our data is not 100% accurate. But with that being said, as of right now, Capricorn is our #1 bestseller, which is so fitting for the Capricorn sign. Like we couldn't even have planned that. And it's very accurate for Capricorn. So it's really fun to see how the signs are kind of doing that. It's interesting.
So Kate, do you ship out of state or are you just strictly New York?
So we ship to 17 different states direct to consumer, but you'll only find us on the shelves in New York for right now.
All right, I imagine that's a complex web, so to speak, of navigating the liquor license portion.
Oh yeah. Yeah, liquor license is no fun.
But do you ship to Florida and Texas?
Do I ship to Texas? Yeah, I ship to Texas.
How about Florida?
We ship to Florida.
Sweet. How
Yeah.
about Colorado?
We ship to Colorado.
We're covered.
And I'm originally from Texas, by the way.
Yes. Well, I'm a big fan of Texas wine. I can't help it. I do live in Houston, and then
Oh, great.
the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo has the Uncorked events, which is all about celebrating wine and their wine competition. Have you been able to enter any wine competitions yet?
I haven't yet. I need to. It's on my to-do list, literally. But yeah, we haven't done it yet.
Yeah,
There's so many things to do.
If you get the opportunity to do the Houston and you win big, you get not just like a belt buckle, but you actually win a saddle. Like that's
Okay. Well, I need to definitely do that. I need a saddle for sure. I love it. It's awesome.
Well, it's been such a fun conversation. Congratulations on what you're doing. Like you really went from a passion of loving wine to actually inventing something so unique in an industry that I feel like it probably is hard to find something somebody hasn't done before. So congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. It's a very exciting project. Very excited to share it with the world, and happy that we could create it. Surprised it wasn't created before, but here we are.
There's got to be one. Somebody's got to be the first. So
yeah.
sunmoonrising.com or sunmoonrisingwine.com.
sunmoonrisingwine.com.
And if somebody wanted to get in touch with you, do they go through the website or?
Yeah. So sunmoonrisingwine.com, there's kind of a contact us form. Our email is posted on our website as well. It's hello@sunmoonrisingwine.com. And then our Instagram is sunmoonrisingwine. I manage the Instagram, at least for now. So that's also a very easy way to get connected with me.
Rebel Coach is a collaborative platform that builds leadership programs for entrepreneurs, coaches, executives, and authors. For more information, visit us at rebelcoach.com and follow us on LinkedIn to never miss an update.